In this video, we're going to take a look at rates, and we have a couple goals for this video. I want you to be able to read and write rates, which is a pretty simple goal to accomplish. And also, we're going to look at how we can change a rate into a unit rate. Now, first of all, let's develop a little bit of backgrounds on ratios and rates. We've already looked at ratios in this chapter. Now, what is a special kind of ratio? A rate, what that is, it's a ratio that compares unlike units. Okay, a common rate is miles per hour, and the reason why we're saying unlike units, there's not really any similarities between miles and hours at all. Okay, if the comparison is to 1 unit, the rate is called a unit rate. Okay, some other examples of rates would be, gas is $3.49 a gallon. Okay, that's an example of a unit rate. This is an example, what I have here, of laps, 22 laps in 5 minutes. Now the two things that are being compared, the two unlike units, are laps and minutes. There's not anything similar between a lap that you would run around a soccer field or a track and time. Okay, that there's nothing similar at all. Okay, so that's comparing two unlike units. So 22 laps in 5 minutes, what we need to figure out here, what they're showing, is the unit rate. In other words, you want to figure out what was the average time of laps that this person ran per 1 minute, okay, or per minute. Okay, so 22, you would take that, divide it by 5, since there were a total of 5 minutes. So the unit rate would be 4.4 laps in 1 minute. So this is going to be the types of problems that we're going to be looking at today. Okay, within this video, we're going to take a look at the unit rate. The rate that's given to us, and we're going to break it down and eventually find the unit rate that you can see right here, 4.4 laps in 1 minute. However, the first thing that we're going to look at, we're just going to look at figuring out the two unlike units that are being compared. Okay, for example, if I'm taking a look at number 1 here, we have 3 miles in 30 minutes. So the two unlike units, or the two units being compared here, are miles and minutes. Okay, for number 1 there. Alright, now number 2. And we're not solving these problems at all. The only thing we're doing is just find the two units that are being compared. Now for number 2, we have 2 cups per recipe. Now once again, cups and a recipe, think about those two units. There's not anything really similar at all between the two. Okay, so those are the two units that are being compared within this rate. So we would just write cups and recipe. Alright, now number 3. Let's take a look at this. $6.25 an hour. Now number 3 and also number 2, those are examples of unit rates. In other words, they're giving us 2 cups per recipe. Okay, per 1 recipe, $6.25 in 1 hour. So that would be an example of a unit rate, but we're not trying to find that yet. We're just trying to look at the two units being compared. Okay, so for number 3, this could be money and hours, or even dollars and hours. Okay, so for number 3, I'll write dollars and also hour. Okay, so those are the two units that are being compared. Now what I want you to do for the next 3 problems, I want you to press pause, and you can see this is pretty simple. What you need to do is just write down the units that are being compared. You're not trying to find the unit rate just yet, just trying to find the units that are being compared. When you're finished doing numbers 1 through 3, I'll have the answers for you on this video, so I want you to pause the video now. Okay, so these are the answers for numbers 1 through 3. The units that are being compared for number 1, cans and day. Number 2, dollars and ounce. And number 3, miles and hours. Okay, now just to let you know, numbers 1 and 2 are examples of unit rates. In other words, they're finding how many cans in each day, how much money per ounce. Number 3 is just an example of a rate because we're getting 15 miles in 6 hours. It's not 15 miles in 1 hour or anything like that. Okay, so that's part 1 of this lesson here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at how to find a unit rate. Okay, now this is going to require you to get out your calculator. You're able to use your calculator for these problems. Okay, and what we're going to be doing is finding, for example, how many laps in 1 minute, because they gave us already how many laps in 10 minutes, but we need to figure out how many laps per 1 minute. Number 5, $112.50 for 15 hours, but we need to figure out how much money per hour. That's an example of a unit rate. Now it's important whenever you're trying to find the unit rate, the proper way to divide, okay, because you cannot just divide these numbers any old way. Okay, now it's really important to understand that the first number that you see, the 12, the 9, the $112.50, $7.47, the first number is always going to be the dividend. Okay, the second number you're going to see is always going to be the divisor. Okay, sometimes it may be switched every now and then with rates, but it's always important to remember that whatever per, like 4 12 servings or in 10 minutes, that part of the rate is always going to be the divisor. Okay, 4 15 hours, 4 3 pounds, that's always going to be the divisor part of your division problem, because if you switch these numbers in your division problem, you're going to get an incorrect answer. So let me erase these really quick and I'll show you these few problems. I'll do 2 for you, then we'll do 2 together. Okay, so if I'm taking a look at 12 laps in 1 minute, in 10 minutes, okay, for number 4, what I need to figure out is I need to figure out the unit rate, how many laps per 1 minute. So what I will do is I'm going to divide 12 divided by 10. I'm going to punch that right in my calculator. Okay, so 12 divided by 10. Okay, so that's 1.2 laps in 1 minute. Okay, so I will just write 1.2 laps in 1 minute, and that's my answer. 1.2 laps in 1 minute. That's my unit rate. I found how many laps that this person ran in just 1 minute. Okay, let's take a look at number 5. I'll do this one for you, then we'll do 6 and 7 together. So we have $112.50 for 15 hours. Okay, what we need to figure out is how much money per hour. Maybe this is somebody who has worked a job and they've worked 15 hours and they're receiving $112.50, and now they're trying to figure out how much money they made per hour. Okay, so what we can do is take that $112.50 and divided that by 15. So 112.5. We're going to divide this by 15. Okay, so $7.50 per hour. So $7.50 for 1 hour. Okay, now you can write your unit rate just like I have here, or you can even write it in a fraction form. Okay, you can write it this way as well. Either way will work. Okay, so what I want you to do now is get out your math book. Sorry, not your math book, but your math journal, a calculator, and a pencil, and we'll do number 6 and 7 together. So let's take a look at number 6. 9 cups for 12 servings. We need to figure out how many cups per 1 serving. Okay, find the unit rate. Remember, the unit rate, you're always trying to figure out how many per 1. Okay, so 9 cups for 12 servings. Even though 9 is less than 12, we're still going to have our 9 be our dividend, and our 12 is going to be our divisor. So we'll just have 9 divided by 12. 9 divided by 12 gives us 0.75, and that will be our answer. So 75 hundredths for 1 serving. Okay, then let's take a look at number 7. We have $7.47 for 3 pounds. Okay, we need to figure out the unit rate. In other words, how much money for 1 pound. Okay, so we're going to take that $7. Let me get on my. So $7.47 divided by 3. That gives us an answer of $2.49 per pound for the unit rate. So $2.49 for 1 pound. Okay, now what I want you to do is work out numbers 4, 5, and 6 on this video. I want you to press pause, work these problems out. When you're finished, you can press play and I'll have the answers for you. And I want you to pause the video right now. Okay, now here are your answers for numbers 4, 5, and 6. We have 5 books in 1 week for number 4. We took 15, divided that by 3 to give us our unit rate. 5 books in 1 week. And then as you can see for number 5, we took 24 and divided that by 2, gave us our unit rate of 12 cans in 1 box. And then finally for number 6, we took 8 and divided it by 5. Now that gave us 1.6 visits in 1 day. Now it's important to understand with unit rates that you will not always come out with the whole number, okay, because you're thinking, well, how can I have 1.6 visits? How can I have, not a whole visit? But remember, it's a unit rate. You're just trying to find the average per day or per unit that you're trying to figure out there. Okay, so this concludes the video on rates. If you have any questions about this topic, please come and see me.